Two people, same $50,000, same starting point. One buys a rental property, one buys an index fund. 20 years later, the answer is not what either side of this argument wants you to believe. Marcus puts $50,000 down on a $250,000 rental property. Daniel puts the same $50,000 into a total market index fund. Same age, same income, same year. Marcus's mortgage at 7% runs $1,330 a month. His tenant pays $1,800. On paper, that is $470 a month in profit. Marcus feels like a genius. Daniel sets up an automatic $300 monthly contribution and forgets about it. No tenants, no keys, just a number that moves quietly in the background. Here is where the real math begins. Year 3, Marcus has collected $64,800 in rent. After his mortgage payments, that is $16,920 in gross cash flow. Sounds great until the real costs show up. Property taxes, $9,000. Insurance, $4,500. A water heater and a roof repair, $4,000. 1 month of vacancy, $2,400. After everything, Marcus's actual net cash flow over 3 years is $2,000 to $4,000, not $16,920. And that does not count a single hour of his time managing it. Daniel, with the same $50,000 plus his contributions, sits at approximately $76,000, based on the S&P 500's historical 10.1% annual return per NYU Stern's market database. 0 phone calls, 0 repairs. But Marcus has something Daniel does not: leverage. He controlled $250,000 with $50,000, a 5-to-1 ratio the stock market cannot replicate. After modest appreciation, his equity sits around $55,000 to $65,000. That leverage is the single biggest argument for real estate, and it is real. The hidden costs nobody puts on the thumbnail. The average rental sits vacant about 1 month a year, according to national vacancy data. Maintenance runs 1 to 2% of property value annually, $2,500 to $5,000 on a $250,000 home. Capital expenses like roofs and HVAC systems arrive in $5,000 to $15,000 chunks every 15 to 20 years. A bad tenant and an eviction can erase a full year of profit. None of this shows up in the $470 a month number. All of it eventually shows up in the bank account. By year 20, Marcus's property is worth roughly $450,000 to $500,000, mortgage paid off, equity between $400,000 and $500,000. His total net cash flow profit above expenses over 2 decades, $40,000 to $80,000. Daniel's portfolio, with the same $300 monthly contributions at 10.1%, has grown to approximately $420,000 to $460,000. Total contributed, $122,000. The rest, over $300,000, is pure compounding, 0 debt, 0 2 a.m. plumbing calls. They land in roughly the same place, but Marcus worked for his. Daniel waited for his. And here is the number that changes everything. If Daniel had simply increased his contribution from $300 to $500 a month, his 20-year total jumps to $550,000 to $600,000, beating Marcus's best-case outcome entirely. In real estate, scaling up means a second mortgage and double the work. In index funds, it means changing one number in an app. To be fair to real estate, stocks have real risk too. The market dropped 37% in 2008 and 34% in a single month in 2020. Dalbar's 2023 research shows the average investor only captures 6.81% annually, not 10.1%, because most people panic sell at the worst possible time. Index funds also offer no monthly cash flow and no depreciation tax shelter, both genuine advantages real estate holds. So which one makes you richer? Neither one automatically. The real trap is picking a side before running your own numbers. Your market, your time, your tolerance for risk. Ask yourself one question before either decision. Did you include everything? That answer is the only one that matters.